Welcome back, Splashers. I sure hope you like because I'm going to be using a lot of sounds today. Otherwise, this video is probably going to get suppressed. With that said, let's dive into it. So, political streamer Vaush is in some serious controversy right now over an event that happened on his stream. Before we go over that though, let's take a minute to catch people up on who Vaush is so you understand the situation just a little bit better. Vaush is a left-wing political streamer slash commentator who originally found his success coming up with the community of another huge political streamer, Destiny. Destiny is a very well-known left-leaning political streamer who specializes in debating experts on both sides, and he places an emphasis on bridge building and de-radicalizing. Vaush originally was lauded for similar traits. He was a leftist with solid research and debate skills. He was maybe even better than Destiny at making left-wing politics more palatable to those who are on the center or center-right or whatever. He and Destiny would routinely do content together, which included stuff like duo debates with right-wingers, and that stuff was extremely well received. This allowed Vaush to grow at a meteoric pace, and it also helped him make his own unique niche to differentiate himself. Naturally though, this state didn't last very long, and eventually Vaush and Destiny had a massive falling out over the Kyle Rittenhouse situation. Destiny managed to show that Vaush was being extremely reactionary, not correctly examining the situation and having some takes that would age extremely poorly as more facts about the situation came out. Remember that, that'll be a theme soon. And eventually, Vaush's divorce from Destiny and the Destiny community led to his content going from fairly closely aligned with Destiny to being far more critical. He began to act a lot more like another huge political streamer, Hamas Piker, and his content quality dropped immensely. Where once he was respected for doing solid research and having well-grounded arguments, began to play it fast and loose with the facts and focused more on outrage farming than anything else. This, of course, put him at odds with Destiny's community, and as he burned this bridge and expunged many of their shared fans, he continued to farm fans from other leftist spaces. Eventually, this reached a peak, and Vaush closed himself off, no longer doing debates or collaborations, and he began phoning it in, trying to farm low-effort outrage content. This, of course, led to a steady decline for his channel, and that decline pushed him back into the debate content sphere. But unfortunately, he was no longer the sharp Vaush that he had once been, as his skills had long since atrophied. He would bring on experts and go into debates with no prep, regularly embarrassing himself and going for optic wins instead of actually trying to change people's minds. But it didn't stop there. He didn't ever let go of his grudge against Destiny either. A common theme on his stream would be reacting to Destiny's content without showing it, lying about Destiny, and trying to turn people against him using those lies. So much for facts and logic. Needless to say, he's not exactly in a great place content-wise, which brings us to now. Poor lazy Vaush couldn't even properly prep his stream right, and while trying to bring something up, accidentally showed one of his porn folders on stream. Yes, that's right, you heard me, one of his porn folders. Now you might be thinking, but Splasher, everyone watches porn, that's not a big deal, and normally you'd be correct, but this was no ordinary porn folder, okay? If this was a normal porn folder, we'd probably have a good laugh at the content and, you know, maybe make a joke about some mommy milkers or some juicy butts. But, no, that's not what happened here. We're not talking about a normal porn folder. Well, let me just show you. Here is a live reaction to the leak.
Is going. Now here comes.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Whoa! What is
Now, there's an element of Vaush's past that I glossed over in that little history I did. Anyone that's familiar with Vaush is probably extremely unsurprised about what was found in his folder. Back when he was coming up in Destiny's community, he actually got a lot of trouble in the past for being a sex pest. He was outed as having allegedly sexually harassed people in Minecraft, and during that, he revealed his proclivities for a certain horse's appendage. So finding porn that included a certain barnyard friend in his folder was not exactly shocking. Still, I don't think people were expecting to also see For anyone who doesn't know, it's a type of content that includes anime children. That's right. Good old Vaush, who was railed against anime in general because it promoted pedophilia, was caught with a cachet of messed up, degenerate anime porn. If only we had a time machine and could see what old Vaush would say about current Vaush. Oh wait, we do.
The thing that bothers me is people who pretend there's no relationship whatsoever between, like, drawn lolly shit and actual attraction to children. Of course there's a relationship between those things. Ridiculous to pretend otherwise. So they need to be aware of that, if anything.
Are you saying that based on common sense, or is there any evidence of that?
I think it's categorical. I think that the fetishization of youth, to the extent that you're fetishizing the bodies or mentalities of underage people, is categorically harmful. Because even if somehow, and I don't know if there's any research indicating this, even if somehow you could find that there was zero correlation between any criminal behavior there at all, and you know, the widespread consumption of hentai, lolicon, whatever, you know, I still think that it normalizes quite negative things.
Well, geez, that sure does seem like a fine and reasonable argument for this situation. We can now safely say that Vaush is a bad person, thanks to Vaush, who should be held accountable for his horrible porn. Now, I'm obviously not going to post what his folder looked like or what was in it. I certainly don't want to see anything like that. But I will point out a question that has come up. What is in Vaush's tax folder? Why do you have a tax folder in your degen porn folder, Vaush? Is it even really taxes? I know if I was doing something sus, I'd probably label it not porn myself. Maybe it's best that the world doesn't know. Thankfully, the internet at large has rightfully reacted very poorly to Vaush's leak. Now, I don't know how many of you are like me, but I love to believe in good old karma. It helps to give me dopamine when I imagine the terrible downfall of people that suck. Well, today we got to see a dose of karma at work. Now, I mentioned earlier that Vaush has a tendency to disengage himself from facts. He also loves to take any chance he has to take a crack at Destiny. When you mix those two, as he often did, he would fabricate things to harp on Destiny, for even when it wasn't even remotely close to the reality of the situation. How ironic then, when H3 picked up this story, and now Vaush is upset because he feels he was misrepresented, and that they didn't give him a fair chance for him to defend himself.
8 inches, bro. You are a vile freak, bro. You gotta get a life outside. Just
Think about horse cock.
Tacoma's weeping right now, bro.
Yes, that's right. The guy who's been endlessly criticized for lying about Destiny is mad that someone else covered his story in a way that he didn't like. Not even lying about it, just covering the facts and giving their correctly negative opinion on it. How the turntables. Now, during the making of this video, the situation has evolved. Vaush has, in fact, responded to the leak. You're probably thinking, oh, nice, so he actually took some accountability. No, I'm sorry, my good, naive viewer. Does Vaush sound like someone that would take accountability to you for doing something that's wrong and depraved?
I know that what I've done and what I've said is justifiable because I've justified it.
Ooh. What's his defense for it, you might ask? Well, apparently it's okay because he was actually looking for goblin porn, and it's just an oopsie whoopsie.
The other one is like a threesome with 2 chicks and a guy. And in retrospect, looking at it, knowing now that that artist is a lolicon, yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was like short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn. You'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn in pornography. But you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right?
Oh, and the horse thing? Yeah, he didn't think there was anything too wrong about that. In fact, he set his stream picture to a horse as a joke, because there's nothing funnier than someone beating their meat to barnyard animals. Am I right, kids? But hey, I'm just some jerk on the internet judging a pompous weirdo who got what was coming to him. Let me know your opinions down in the comments below. And as always, this has been your DGen Fix from Splash Zone News, and you've been splashed.